Most people still think AI is just a chat box waiting for a long prompt beat. But that version of AI is already a ghost.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that reactive era is fading incredibly fast.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are unpacking a massive technological shift.
Right.
We are moving away from AI that just talks about work. Instead, we are looking at autonomous AI that actually does the work.
And the source material today is just absolutely fascinating. We were exploring the actual mechanics of building autonomous agents.
Right. And specifically, we're examining a platform called HyperAgent. We're going to compare it to self-hosted setups like Hermes or OpenClaw.
Yeah, if you follow this space, you probably know the self-hosted route.
Exactly. Those self-hosted options are really fantastic for specific use cases.
They really are. I mean, Hermes gives you total, absolute control over your privacy.
Because you own the entire machine and all the data.
Exactly. But HyperAgent is built for a completely different mindset. It is really for getting work handed to you directly.
Right.
You don't have to manage the underlying infrastructure at all. You just get the results.
So to understand how we escape the chat box, we have to look at the digital environment.
Right. We have to give the AI its own space to operate.
This is the critical first step in the whole process. In HyperAgent, every agent gets its own cloud computer.
Right.
And let's define that really quickly for everyone listening. A cloud computer is a remote setup where the AI browses freely.
Yeah, it isn't stuck guessing from static training data.
Right.
It can open websites, click links, and take real action online.
The source material provides this really brilliant test case for this. The author built a market watcher agent named Scout.
Yeah, Scout was designed with one very specific focused job. It basically watches 5 major competitors in their industry. It only alerts the user when something meaningful actually changes.
And the setup process was shockingly simple, which totally blew my mind. There was no massive convoluted system prompt involved here.
Right, and just to clarify, a system prompt is the basic instructions telling the AI its job.
Yeah, exactly. Instead, the author just described the goal in plain English. They used maybe 2 or 3 normal sentences.
Then HyperAgent did something really clever there. It asked a few smart follow-up questions to clarify.
Right, to narrow it down.
Exactly. It asked which specific competitors it should be watching. It also asked what actually counts as an important market change.
It's treating you like a manager, not a programmer.
Yeah.
The agent page itself is divided into 3 simple tabs. You have identity, model, and tools.
The identity tab holds the agent's core role and goal. The model tab lets you select the actual AI engine.
Right.
They used a standard GPT model for this specific test.
And the Tools tab gives Scout its real abilities. You give it web search, document parsing, and a live browser.
And that live browser is where the real magic happens. The author tested Scout on a competitor's complex pricing page.
Scout spun up its cloud computer and checked the page. It rendered the whole site and compared the new text.
Right.
And it found absolutely nothing important.
So it made a decision and stayed entirely silent.
That is massive. I mean, nobody wants fake urgency from their digital tools. It's kind of like the difference between a dictionary and a proactive research assistant.
Oh, that's a great analogy. A standard scraper just gives you raw, unfiltered HTML changes.
Right. It tells you someone changed a comma on their website.
Yeah, exactly. But Scout actually reads the change and understands the broader market. It compares the threat level and highlights what deserves attention.
But I want to push back on this architecture for a second. Why is this specific cloud computer element the defining line between old and new AI?
Well, because old AI waits for you to bring it the internet. You have to copy and paste the text into the box yourself. New AI lives on the internet, browsing and acting just like a human user would.
So it's an independent actor, not a passive tool.
Precisely. It fundamentally changes the relationship.
Let's transition to the next big hurdle here. An agent with its own computer is certainly powerful, but we hit a major wall if it forgets everything instantly.
Right, and that happens the second you close the laptop. The session ends, the context clears, and it resets.
Yeah.
It basically reverts to being a really complex temporary search engine.
We have to move from simple, isolated tasks to actual memory. This breaks what they call the terrible start from zero curse.
Right.
And I'm going to make a vulnerable admission here. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself, constantly rewriting instructions because the AI forgets my preferences.
Well, you are definitely not alone in that frustration. The author explores 2 main pillars to solve this exact problem. The first pillar they introduce is called skills.
Skills allow you to teach your personal method just once.
Exactly. And the second pillar is memory. This lets the agent auto-save useful patterns over time.
Let's dig into how the author actually used these skills. They taught Scout their personal framework for judging competitor moves.
Yeah, they showed Scout exactly what to check first during a market shift. They taught it how to separate real threats from random PR noise.
Explain how that actually works under the hood, though. How does an AI learn a framework without fine-tuning a whole model?
Right, so it acts like a persistent hidden scratch pad. When you define a skill, it saves those rules in a vector database.
Oh,
Every
okay.
time Scout wakes up, it fetches those specific rules first. It's like stanking Lego blocks of data before it even starts reading.
So it's loading your brain before it looks at the problem. The AI learned how the user's own business positioning changed the answer.
Yeah, and the best part is that these skills are completely reusable. Once you teach this high standard to Scout, it's permanent.
Right.
You could apply that exact same skill to future agents you build.
That brings us to the memory pillar, which is wild. This fixes the exact prompt drift issue I was complaining about.
Yeah.
They turned on the autosave feature inside the agent's knowledge tab.
And over a few weeks, Scout started catching really vital patterns.
It noticed behavioral trends that a human might totally miss.
It learned which competitor usually leaks their product launches early. It figured out which specific subpage for pricing actually matters most.
You don't have to just trust the black box either. You can manage these saved memories manually in the dashboard.
Right.
You can set their importance level and choose if they are private.
Or you can share them across your entire workspace. After a month, Scout had a working, nuanced read on the entire market.
It knows what recently changed and what usually matters. It knows exactly what can be safely ignored without bothering you. But I have a serious concern about this feedback loop. Could this memory system accidentally learn bad habits from the user?
Absolutely. If you consistently ignore critical pricing updates in your feedback, the agent learns to ignore them too. You're actively modeling its baseline behavior every single day.
So we basically build an AI that mimics our flaws.
Yeah, that is the double-edged sword of autonomous memory.
Once the agent understands how you think, the game changes. The next logical step is moving it to where you actually work.
Right, you have to bring it into the team's actual daily workspace. If it just lives in a web portal, nobody will check it.
For this particular author, that central workspace is Slack.
They connected Scout directly to Slack, using the platform's invocation setting. Scout got its own profile picture and joined the relevant strategy channels.
It started answering direct mentions in threads like a real human teammate.
They also set up scheduled, recurring runs for Scout. You choose the AI model, the destination, and the specific Slack channel.
You also set the exact frequency of these market checks. But the most powerful setting they highlight is the quiet one.
Yeah, Scout stays perfectly, entirely silent unless a change is actually meaningful.
There is no all-day noise cluttering up the team's chat.
Right.
There are no fake alerts just to prove the agent is running.
It only speaks when something is truly worth pulling you away.
Let's look at a real-world example from the source material. Google decided to fold their Notebook LM product into Gemini.
Right, and Scout didn't just report the raw, boring press release.
Right.
It actually explained the underlying corporate strategy behind the move.
It noted Notebook LM's existing, highly engaged user base. It highlighted Gemini's massive global search distribution network.
Scout suggested that the user lean into fast, verifiable document workflows to compete.
It synthesized two different product ecosystems into one strategic takeaway.
There was another simulated case with a direct competitor. The competitor quietly cut their entry-level pricing by 20%.
Scout provided a full, comprehensive breakdown of the entire event. It didn't just drop a link in Slack and walk away.
No, it explained what changed and exactly who it threatened in the market. It even suggested two specific counter moves for the user to consider next.
But hold on, I need to stop you there. This sounds great, but if it's filtering my morning news, I'm nervous. How do you avoid getting overwhelmed by false alarms or bad strategic advice?
Well, transparency is the ultimate safety net here. Scout always links the direct source page for its evidence. You can instantly check the hard facts yourself before making any big decisions.
It shows its work, so you can verify the logic. What is the psychological shift of trusting an AI to filter your morning news?
You stunt being a data gatherer and become an editor. You have to let go of the control of finding the raw information yourself.
We transition from hunting data to managing actual decisions. Mid-roll sponsor, break placeholder. When you have one agent perfectly dialed in, things really accelerate. The natural next step in this progression is multiplication.
Right, you move from a single individual contributor to an entire AI team.
The author scaled up to a really fascinating multi-agent lineup. Scout is at the front, tracking the market and flagging important moves.
Then they added a specialized inbox agent to the flow. It clears the overnight email pile and escalates human-level issues.
Finally, they built a dedicated content agent. It takes market trends and turns them into LinkedIn posts and pull quotes.
Every single agent gets its own cloud computer, specialized skills, and shared memory.
This is crucial. They aren't sharing one messy, bloated system prompt. They have crystal clear roles, and they pass work seamlessly between them.
Let's break down how that handoff actually works technically.
Okay.
Scout spots a competitor move and writes a brief. It drops that brief into a shared digital queue.
The content agent sees the queue update and automatically grabs it. There is absolutely no human copy-pasting involved in this pipeline.
This brings up a really vital discussion about the trust model.
Right.
The boring, low-stakes, 90% of the work runs completely automatically.
But risky decisions and sensitive client replies hit a wall. They wait for a human to explicitly click yes or approve.
You can watch every single agent from a centralized command center. You can score their daily work against your own personal rubric.
This means the AI team actually gets sharper over time. But I have to challenge this setup. The source provides this stat about Airtable.
Right. Airtable used an internal agent for their massive data catalog. It answered complex employee questions across 70,000 distinct entries in Slack.
And they claim that saved them around 200 hours every single week. But wait, if it hallucinates data in a 70,000 entry catalog, untangling that mess could cost them 300 hours.
That is exactly why the command center and confidence scoring are vital. The agent requires a high confidence threshold to answer automatically. If it's unsure about a database entry, it escalates to a human engineer.
So the guardrails prevent it from confidently lying at scale.
Exactly. Then there is the Deskimo example, which is even crazier. They built an 8-agent sales pipeline in just a single week.
These 8 agents ran prospecting, personalized outreach, and diligent follow-ups.
But here is the absolute genius part of their architecture. The pipeline studied the gap between its own drafts and the final sent emails.
It watched what the human founder actually changed before hitting send.
Yeah, it adjusted its own internal instructions nightly based on the founder's manual edits.
Wow.
After just 3 weeks, the founder approved 90% of the emails completely untouched.
And they utilized a shared memory system across the team. When one outreach agent learned that certain industry domains frequently bounced,
The initial sourcing agent automatically stopped pulling those bad domains entirely.
whoa, beat. Imagine one lesson landing across 8 agents instantly. That scale is wild.
It changes how you think about business automation entirely. Traditional script-based automation goes stale the second a website changes.
Right.
This system actually gets sharper and more resilient.
This is a huge paradigm shift for management. What is the friction of managing a team of AIs versus a team of human workers?
Well, AIs don't have fragile egos, but they completely lack human intuition. You have to explicitly, painstakingly define every single boundary they operate within.
You trade human ego for strict, absolute clarity in instructions.
That's exactly the trade-off. It forces you to be a better delegator.
Let's recap the big overarching idea from today's deep dive. We looked at 2 very different philosophies for AI infrastructure. Hermes is great when deep ownership and strict privacy are the main goals.
If you need to air-gap your data, you control the whole machine.
Right.
But HyperAgent really shines when getting the actual work done is the priority.
You don't have to manage the messy background infrastructure or the servers. You just build the logic and let the cloud computer execute.
A good autonomous agent team gets noticeably sharper with steady feedback. It doesn't go stale and break like traditional rigid automation software.
Which leaves us with a provocative thought for you to consider. We know autonomous agents constantly learn from the gap between their drafts and your final actions.
2-sec silence.
So, what unspoken biases or unconscious habits are you accidentally teaching your AI team?
That is a slightly terrifying but necessary question to ask yourself.
If you want to dive in, my advice is to start small. Build one simple market watcher, give it a few skills, and just see what happens. Thank you for joining the deep dive. Outro music.